Hello students, how are you all? Are you good? This is your yoga teacher Lakshmi Rajopadhyay from Pratibha International School and Junior College. So today we are going to see what do you mean by Sukshma Vyayam and Sthul Vyayam. Okay, so these Vyayamas come under yogic exercises. Okay, so meaning of Sukshma Vyayam is so these are very simple exercises that work on very subtle level, focusing on group of small joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. And Sukshma can be done with very little effort, but have a very beneficial effect on the system of the body. So persons of all ages and even physically weaker persons can perform these exercises. So I have provided you a last video of Sukshma Vyayama. Okay. Now, what do you mean by Sthul Vyayam? So, Sthul Vyayam are the exercises which are more strenuous than Sukshma Vyayam and require considerable physical effort to be performed. Sukshma Vyayam strengthens the works on the all system internally, whereas Sthul Vyayam are performed for muscular development and building up the physique. Okay, now we'll see there are two Sthul Vyayama for you for your curriculum. First one is Ridhagati and second one is Sarvang Pushti. Ridhagati is also called as engine Daud. Okay, so what does Ridhagati means? Ridh means heart and Gati means speed. So it literally means speed of heart. This is a kriya, and this kriya is especially beneficial for from the asanas. So most of people wrongly refer to as a yoga asanas. So it is from yogic sthul vyayam or practice for the gross or bulky body. Okay, so this comes under sthul vyayam. Now, what are the benefits of Ridhagati? It increases stamina, cardiovascular endurance, it improves muscular coordination, improves the efficiency of the respiratory system by dilating the bronchus. The fact that Ridhagati has benefited many asthmatic makes us believe that it dilates the bronchus permanently. Okay, and it needs to be introduced to sports person to fetch in more medals from the international sporting events. Okay, so these are the benefits of Ridhagati. Ridhagati comes under Sthul Vyayam. Right. We see precautions of Ridhagati. This Sthul Vyayam should not be performed by people who have heart problem. Okay, any problem related to blood pressure, those should not perform it. The people with asthma or some other respiratory problem should practice only under expert guidance and only when their problem is not in an aggravated state. Okay, understood? The people whose physique is very weak, those should also perform under only expert guidance. Okay, understood? Now we'll see how to perform Ridhagati. Now we'll see video of how to perform Ridhagati. Stand on the mat, join your feet, hands. Now slowly move your hands back and forth, make a fist slowly. Now slowly increase the speed. When you move your hands front side, then stretch it fully, and when you move it back, then pull it completely. Okay, with hands movements also move your legs. Okay, synchronizing your hand movements. When you bend your right hand, at the same time you have to bend your right leg such that the leg should be pulled completely such that your heel should touch your buttock. Okay, so this is Ridhagati. We'll see side view of Ridhagati again. Okay, Again, stand on the mat, stand erect, join your feet, move your both hands back and forth, make a fist, stretch your hands completely, synchronizing with your hands, move your legs also. That means when you bend your left hand, you have to bend your left leg also. Your heel should touch your buttock. Hridgati is an amazing exercise for your cardiac. Okay, so these are so from Sthul Vyayam we have seen first Vyayam, first exercise, that is Hridgati, its benefits, precautions, and how to perform Hridgati. Now next Sthul Vyayama is Sarvang Pushti. Okay, now see. So as its name suggests, it tones up and strengthens all body parts and adds glow to the face. Sarvang means whole body. Okay, and Pushti means it strengthens. So the back pain even caused by arthritis can be managed with dedicated and guided practice of Sarvang Pushti. It is a great relief when to the patients of tuberculosis and is a good warm up before beginning asanas. Okay, these are the benefits of Sarvang Pushti. Now, what are the contraindications for Sarvang Pushti? As again, we have seen contraindications for Hridagiti. It should not be performed with the people who suffer from high blood pressure, who have heart ailments, neck problem, and who feel dizziness. Those people should not perform any kind of stool vyayam. Okay, Hridagiti and Sarvang Pushti. Fine. Now we'll see how to perform Sarvang Pushti. Now we'll see how to perform Sarvang Pushti. For that, we have to stand on the mat, take distance between your legs. Okay, your toes should be straight. Now see, take distance between your legs. Okay, with inhalation, raise your arms, cross your hands. Now your left arm, left wrist is above right wrist. Okay, actually you have to fold your fingers, make a fist. Now with exhalation, bend to the left slowly. Try to touch your forehead to your left knee. Now change your hands. Now your right wrist is above your left wrist. Now again with exhalation, bend to the right side from your waist, keeping your knees straight. Okay. Now again with inhalation, stand up, and while standing, you have to change your hands. Okay. With exhalation, slowly bend down, change your hands, and with inhalation, stand straight. While moving to the right side, slightly move to the back side, and then with exhalation, bend to the right side. Try to touch your head to your right knee. Again, change your hand, and with inhalation, come up. Now with exhalation, slowly take your hands to its original position. So this is nothing but Sarvang Pushti. So as you have seen, when we bend down, we raise our both hands, and when we bend to our left side, so with exhalation, when we bend down to the left, that time our left wrist is above right wrist. While standing up with exhalation, change your hands again. Now your right wrist is above left wrist. Okay. Now with exhalation, you are going to bend to the right side. Now your right wrist is above your left wrist. Okay. With inhalation, again stand up, but you have to change your hands. So this is the process to perform Sarvang Pushti. So at the time of when you bend to your left side, that time your left wrist should be above your right wrist, and when you bend to right side, that time your right wrist should be above left wrist, and your fingers should be folded. That means you have to make a fist actually. Keep your knees straight and try to touch your forehead to your knee. So this is called as Sarvang Pushti. Now with exhalation, slowly take your hands down, relax. So you have seen how to perform Sarvang Push. So as we have seen, there are two types of yogic Vyayam. Those are Sukshma Vyayam and Sthul Vyayam. I have already provided you a video of Sukshma Vyayam. Okay. And now today we have seen two Sthul Vyayamas. Those are Ridhagati, benefits and precautions of Ridhagati, and second one is Sarvang Pushti. Okay, so Sthul Vyayamas should not be performed with the people who suffer from high BP, heart ailments, any who had any recent surgery. They should not perform. If they feel dizziness performing Sthul Vyayam, you have to take a long breaths. Okay, deep breathing. You have to practice deep breathing, and then you have to take Shavasana. Okay. Now we'll move towards our next topic, that is Surya Namaskar. So today we are going to see how to perform Surya Namaskar. Okay. Now before that, we'll see. So Surya Namaskar is also called as sun salutation. It is a sequence of 12 powerful yoga poses. Besides being a great cardiovascular workout, it also known to have an immensely positive impact on our body and the mind. Surya Namaskar is the best done early morning on an empty stomach. You may find several versions of on how to practice sun salutation, that is Surya Namaskar. But however, it is advisable to stick to one particular version and practice it regularly for the best result. Now, there are incredible benefits of Surya Namaskar. It helps to maintain cardiovascular health. It stimulates the nervous system. It helps in stretching, flexing, and toning the muscles. It is an excellent exercise for weight loss management. If you perform Surya Namaskar with a speed, it will be very much beneficial to lose your weight. It strengthens the immune system, it enhances cognitive functions, and improves overall health, and strengthens the body and relaxes the mind. Okay, as it is the combination of 12 different yoga poses. Now we'll see there are contraindications of Surya Namaskara too. Now, what are the contraindications? The people who suffer from high BP, who have severe heart problems, those should not perform Surya Namaskar. Okay. The people who have general body weakness, chronic illness, those should not perform Surya Namaskar. Pregnant lady and during menstruation also, Surya Namaskar should not be performed. The people who have low back pain and spine disorders like slip disc, spondylitis, cervical, okay, sciatica, those should not perform Surya Namaskar. Okay, varicose veins problem, those should not perform Surya Namaskar. People having wrist injury should not perform it, and during fever also you should not perform Surya Namaskar. Okay, if anybody had any recent surgery at that time also, they should not perform Surya Namaskar. So these are the contraindications of Surya Namaskar. Now we'll see how to perform Surya Namaskar and what are its steps. Okay, and what is the name of each step that we are going to see here. Now see, there are 12 steps of Surya Namaskar. Okay, So first step, that is called Pranamasana, prayer. You can see this is the first pose, that is okay. So this is the first pose, Pranamasana. So how to perform this pose? At the edge of your mat, keep your feet together and balance your weight equally on the both the feet. Expand your chest and relax your shoulders. Now as you breathe in, lift your both arms up from the sides, and as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of the chest in prayer position. Okay. Now this first step is called as Pranamasana or prayer pose. Now next step is called as Hastottanasana. Now this one is next step. Okay, this is also called as raised arm pose. Hasta means hand and Uttan means to lift. So this pose is called as Hastottanasana. This pose is very much beneficial for the people who have problem of cervical, but it should not be performed by the people who have high BP problems. Okay, weak heart, they should not perform this pose. Okay, so how to perform this? So while breathing in, lift the arms up and back, keeping the biceps close to your ears. In this pose, the effort is to stretch the whole body up from the heels to the tip of your fingers. Okay, this is called as Hastottanasana pose. Second pose, that is raised arm pose. Okay, with inhalation you have to raise your both arms. Now next pose is Hastapadasana, or that is also called as Padahastasana. Hastapadasana, or also called as Padahastasana. So wait a minute. So this is Padahastasana. Okay, third step is Padahastasana. This one is third step. Okay, so this is also called as standing forward bend. So in second step, we have breathe in. We are inhaling, and now in third step, we have to breathe out. That means with exhalation, bend forward from the waist. You have to keep your spine erect, and as you exhale completely, bring the hands down to the floor beside the feet. Now here you have to keep your knees straight and press your forehead onto your knees. Try to touch your forehead to your knee. Okay, so this is called as Hastapadasana or Padahastasana. Now next, fourth step is called as Ashwasanchalanasana. Now this is fourth step, that is Ashwasanchalanasana. See, this is the fourth step. Now how to perform Ashwasanchalanasana, that is also called as equestrian pose. So again we have to inhale, and with inhalation push your left leg back. Okay, and as far as possible take your left leg back, keep you stretch your toes on the floor on the mat, and bring your left knee to the floor and look up. Okay, press your right thigh onto your right calf muscle and look up. Make an arch of your back. Okay, this is called as Aswasanchalanasana, or also called as equestrian pose. Now here we have inhaled. Now with exhalation we have to come in Dandasana. This is called as Dandasana, a stick pose. So as you breathe in, again take the right leg also back. Okay, now you have to stand on your both toes and bring the whole body in a straight line. Keep your arms perpendicular to the floor. Your body should be in slanting pose. Okay, so this is called as Dandasana or stick pose. Your body should look like a stick. Okay, now sixth step is called as Ashtanga Namaskar. This is called as Ashtanga Namaskar. Ashtanga means 8. Ashta means 8. Anga means body parts. So here, what we are doing from Dandasana, we are gently bringing our knees down to the floor and exhale. Take the hips back slightly and slide forward. Rest your chest and chin on the floor and rest your posterior a little bit. So the two hands, 2 feet, knees, chest and chin should touch to the floor. This one is difficult posture. So here only 8 parts of your body are touched to the floor or mat. Therefore it is called as Ashtang. Okay. This is called as Ashtang Namaskar. Now 7th pose is called as Bhujangasana or simply Cobra pose. From Ashtangasana, slightly slide forward and raise the chest up into the Cobra pose. Now you may keep your elbows bent in this pose with your shoulders away from the ears, or you can stretch you can keep your elbows straight also. Okay, look up at the ceiling and press your tailbone. Okay, so this is Bhujangasana. Now next 8th step is Adhomukh Svanasana. 8th step is called as Adhomukh Svanasana. So this is your 8th step. See, this is Adhomukh Svanasana. That is called as downward facing dog pose. So while breathing out, lift the hips and the tailbone up to bring the body into an inverted V pose. It should look like inverted V pose. If possible, then try and keep the heels on the ground. Make a gentle effort to lift the tailbone up, going deeper into the stretch. Okay, you try to keep your heels on the ground. So this is called as Adho Mukh Svanasana. Swan means dog, or it is also called as downward facing dog pose. Fine. Next, 9th step. This is 9th step. That is called as Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Okay. So 9th step is Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Again, we come into 9th step, that is Ashwa Sanchalanasana. So while breathing in, the right foot forwarding in between the two hands, the left knee goes down on the floor and press the hips down and look up. So this is again Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Next, 10th step is Hastapadasana or Padahastasana. Again, while breathing out, bring the left foot forward and join your both foot. Okay, and keep the palms on the floor and try to touch your forehead to your knees. Keep your knees straight. Now, again, 11th step is called as Hastottanasana. Okay, that is raised arm pose. With inhalation, roll the spine up, raise the hands up and bend backward a little bit, pushing the hips slightly outward. Okay, now again, while releasing this pose, again come into prayer pose, that is Pranamasana. So here we have completed 12 steps of Surya Namaskar. Okay, so the first step is called as, this one is first step, it is called as Pranamasana. You have to join your both palms, inhale and exhale. Now second pose, this is called as Hastottanasana, that is raise arm pose. With inhalation, you have to raise your arms, make an arch of your back, slightly bend backward. Okay, then third step is called as Hastapadasana or Padahastasana, that is standing forward, bend. With exhalation, you have to bend down, keeping your knees straight. Try to touch your palms on your mat. Try to press your forehead onto your knees. Try to touch your forehead to your knees. Okay, this is called as Hastapadasana or Padahastasana. Now here we have exhaled. Now at fourth step, you have to again inhale. Take your left leg back. The left toe and left knee will be on the mat, and right legs, calf muscle and thigh should be pressed onto each other, and make an arch of your back. Look up. Okay. So this is your fourth stage, fourth step, that is called as Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Now after that, you have to lift your left knee, and you have to take your right toe, right leg near to your left leg. Lift your whole body. You will stand on only your toes and on your palms. Okay. Again, you have to inhale at this pose. So that pose is called as Dandasana or stick pose. Fine. Then with exhalation, you have to again bend down. You have to touch your toes, knees, chest, your both hands and your chin on the mat. That is called as Ashtangasana, because here our 8 body parts are touching to the mat. Okay. Here we have exhaled completely. Again, in next step, with inhalation, slightly slide your body forward and raise the chest, shoulder, chest, and come into a cobra pose, that is Bhujangasana. Okay, make an arch of your back. You can keep your elbows bent or you can stretch them. Okay, this is called as Bhujangasana. Now next asana is Adhomukh Shvanasana, that is downward facing dog pose. So here you have to again breathe out with exhalation. Here this is the Adhomukh Shvanasana. With exhalation, you have to lift the hips and the tailbone up to the body into an inverted V pose, and try to touch your heels on the ground and make a gentle effort to lift your tailbone up. Okay. So this is called as Adhomukh Shvanasana. 8th step. Next, 9th step. Again, we are coming to Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Now this is Ashwa Sanchalanasana. Here again, with inhalation, let your left toe and left knee touch on the mat, and your right thigh will be pressed onto your right calf muscle. Make an arch of your back. Okay. So look up. So this is your next pose, that is Ashwa Sanchalanasana, step 9. Again, while breathing out with exhalation, you have to take your another leg in between your palms, join your both foot, and you have to bend down. With exhalation, you have to bend down. Try to touch your forehead to your knees, keeping your knees straight. Okay, that is called as Hastapadasana or Padahastasana. Okay, that is nothing but standing forward, bend. This is step number 10. Now again, with inhalation, raise your both arms and slightly bend backward. Okay, and keep the palms. Roll your spine up and raise hands up. Bend backward a little bit, pushing your hips slightly outward. This is called as Hastottanasana or raised arm pose. So again, with exhalation, you have to come in Pranamasana, that is Namaskar prayer pose. Okay, so understood the steps of Surya Namaskar. Okay, in first step you have to inhale and exhale. Then in second step you have to again inhale. Third step, here you are bending down, that means you have to exhale. Now fourth step you have to inhale. For fifth step you have to exhale. For next step, fifth step, you have to exhale only. You should not inhale in this step. So in fifth step, you have already exhaled, And in Ashtangasana, you have to again exhale. You maintain that exhalation. So for next step, for Bhujangasana, while coming in Bhujangasana, you have to inhale. Again, when you are bending down, lifting your hips, that time you have to inhale in this pose. Okay, this pose is called as downward facing dog pose, Adho Mukh Svanasana. Okay, so here you have exhaled. Again in Ashwasanchalanasana, see, inhale. Again when you are bending down in Padahastasana, exhale. And again when you are coming up, you are rolling your spine up, raising your both hands. That time you have to again inhale and again exhale while coming to your last step. So understood? So breathing technique is very much important. When you are bending down, that time you have to exhale. Keep this thing in mind. Okay, so these are the steps to perform Surya Namaskar. Understood? No, so today we have seen what is Sukshma Vayam. What do you mean by Sthula Vayam? Okay, there are, we have seen a video of, I have already sent you a video of Sukshma Vayam, and today we are going to see two Sthula Vayamas. Those are Ridhagati and Sarvang Pushti. Ridhagati is also called as engine Daud. We have seen its benefits and precautions. Okay, we have seen its video. One more time I will show you. Stand on the mat, stand erect, join your both feet, and then move your hands back and forth. Make a fist, and then with synchronizing with your hand movements, your legs movement should be done like this. You have to move your hands back and forth forcefully. When you are moving your hand front side, you have to stretch it completely, and when you are bending your leg, your heel should touch your buttock. Okay, so this was all about Ridhagati. Now we have seen what do you mean by Sarvang Pushti. Sarvanga means complete body, and Pushti means to strengthen. So Sarvang Pushti, the benefit of Sarvang Pushti is it tones up and strengthens all parts of the body and adds a glow to the face. Okay, so we have seen its benefits and contraindications. Now we'll see one more time the video of Sarvang Pushti, how to perform it. So for Sarvang Pushti, you have to stand on the mat, take distance between your legs. With inhalation, raise your both arms, cross your wrist. When you are bending to left side, your left wrist should be above your right wrist. Now with exhalation, bend to the left slowly. You have to make a fist. Try to touch your forehead to your left knee. Keep your both knees straight. Don't bend them. Now change your hands, and with inhalation, slowly come up. Now while moving to the right side, slowly, slightly bend to the backward, and then with exhalation, bend to the right side. Try to touch your forehead to your knee. Now again change your hand. Okay, and then come up. Slightly bend forward, and now as your left wrist is above, you have to bend to the left side. So this is called as Sarvang Pushti. While you are coming up, you have to change your wrist. Okay, while bending down, you have to exhale. Keep your knees straight. So this is the process of Sarvang Pushti. Now with exhalation, slowly take your hands down. So fine, this is the process to perform Sarvang Pushti. Then we have seen Surya Namaskar. There are a lot of benefits of Surya Namaskar, and there are contraindications also for Surya Namaskar. Okay, you have to be careful while performing any asana or any exercise. You have to take care of the contraindications of that particular asana. Okay, then we have seen the steps, 12 steps of Surya Namaskar: Pranamasan, Hastottanasana, Padhastasan, then Ashwasanchalanasan. See, this is called as Pranamasan, then Hastottanasana, Padhastasan, Ashwasanchalanasan, Dandasan, Ashtanga Namaskar, okay, or also called as Ashtangasan, Bhujangasan, also called as Cobra pose, Adhomukh Shwanasan, that is downward facing dog pose, again into Ashwasanchalanasan, again into Padhastasan, Hastottanasana and Pranamasan. Okay,